Hey everybody, welcome back to Freedom Algo. I'm just checking out this channel here to see if it's going to be valid or if it's going to hold. I don't actually think it is, but I had it on there just in case. Looks like we're getting a down move here. And I'll go over all the price action in just a moment, but I just want to map this out real quick. We might get a little bit of a wider channel here. Maybe we'll draw it a little tighter like this for now. See what we get. Let me know how you're doing. Happy Friday, everyone. Let me zoom out real quick so I can show the whole thing. This is the whole day right here. This is for the overnight, so. Okay. There you go. So we basically have a range day that broke into the upper side. Eventually this range broke into the upper side, and now we have a measured target of the range up here. So that's what we have today. Not a lot of trades in the later part of the morning, unfortunately. A lot of the good setups came early. So we'll talk about that. There's some couple of things that did show up later that I can talk about as we go through this area. And I can mark those as we go, but for now I'm going to talk about the main setups. So I'm going to go back here and I'll go over everything. So it started like this. Range. Originally I had the low of the range right here. I moved it down when we got this break over here. So basically we have an up channel, close outside, move to a new high, then we get this pullback, and then basically it goes up here, reverses. There's just no trade setups in here. So unfortunately, like when I got in this morning, there wasn't a lot. There was a setup that almost formed here. I didn't really like it though. You have this move down and then you have a move up. You have a first entry short, pullback, and this lower high creates a second entry short, but I just think it's too close to the lows. It works, but I don't think it's a good setup. Now, I would say that there is looks like a down move here, and then it does come off of here and give us a first entry short, pullback, equal high. So this is a second entry short below this red bar. I did like that one because at this point, it does look like there's a down move in play. And even if you drew from the lower high, so even if you drew from the lower high, which you could have still drawn something like this and said, well, this is a close outside, we expect a new low. So either way, I like this setup here. So that was the first trade of the day, and it was right after the open. So just a scalp, that's all you get there. Then it comes up, and you get a first entry short, pullback, equal high again, second entry short, and that's the second trade of the day, and that's a really good one too. You are going into the EMA, and the reason I marked it yellow as well is because you're not off the key area, but the other reason is if you drew a slightly wider channel, you know, like this, it's like not the most convincing close outside, plus you could have drawn it, I think if you draw it wider, it's kind of just wrong. So for me, like, it just fits. Like, it does look like a close outside new high. Even if you draw it wider, it still is. But again, like, it's kind of, it's like we're looking for a new low down here. And so I think it's good. But sometimes you might get one more attempt higher. You might get one of those ones where it's a close outside new high and you get one more leg. So it's not perfect, but it is good. Then, so I liked both of those. I didn't take the third trade, and so I will talk about that one. So we start grinding over. We kind of get a triple test here, but not a signal bar or anything. It runs down to here, and then we come all the way up. We just get a close outside and reverse. From here, you do get this move down. Now, this is not a first entry long right here, even though it breaks higher, because this green bar is an inside bar of this bar. So you really look at this like a move down, first entry long above this red bar, and then it creates this equal low, which you can treat as a higher low or a new low, and it's a second entry long. I wrote second entry long / higher low because some people would look at this as a first entry long, and then second entry long, and then just higher low. But I don't think that I don't look at this as a first entry long because it's an inside bar. So I really looked at this like pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry long, off the lows, failed breakout of the lows of this possible range. It's not perfect. I thought it was a little risky. You're kind of picking a bottom there. I thought a higher low would be better. You do get a higher low, but it doesn't bounce off the level. It misses it. So if you take that, there's some risk there, and it's kind of a doji. So I didn't love that either. We come down and get this one. This is now creating kind of like a triple test, but not really. So I don't take that one. There's a first entry, second entry short. You're not looking for one there. Lower high, but not looking for one there either. There's a pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry long here, but you're not looking for that either. So just skip all that. It does break higher here, and then it kind of grinds back and goes up. Now, I don't see any trades in this move here. Even if you could draw a trend line like this, maybe. Can maybe argue that there was like a little trend channel there, but I don't see a trade in there. And then it closes down here. I don't see a trade here. It's just there is a first entry, second entry long on a red bar. Then this thing grinds up again, and there's a first entry short, second entry short that fails, but you're not looking for a failure there. There's also a first entry, second entry long that fails, but you're not looking for that either. So just skip all this right here. You got to wait for something better. It grinds down in this downtrend. You can see this thing just completely grinds down. It does bounce off the level, but it's inside of a channel. There's no second entry shorts on the way down that are anything good. So I skipped all that. And then we end up with this move up. It's really tight, but you have a first entry, second entry short failure. This one is a possibility, but you are at the midline of the range. So I'll mark it, but I'm going to tell you that you are playing with fire if you take this trade right here. You're definitely playing with fire if you take this. It is a failed second entry short, but it's not ideal. It's basically a new low, first entry short, and then second entry short, and then a bullish bar that you can take to ride it up to stop everyone out. But you can see it hangs up on you for a second. So you'd be shaking a little bit if you're in this trade, because you got to wait for it to really fill you until over here. So I just think it's a little too dicey. So I didn't mark it originally because, again, when it's a really risky one that still fits the criteria, I'll usually mark it live. But I don't want to put it in the screenshots in the community, because if I do that, then people are going to be like, oh, why didn't I take that trade? And it's better for me to be able to explain that one, because that's like probably more of like a C+/B- setup. It's not great. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. Okay, so then we come up here, move down, first entry long, move down, second entry long, failure. You're not looking for a failure right there. Then this thing just comes up, makes a new low, and I don't know. This is just kind of chop right here. It bounces here, but then it rejects, and then it bounces again, and then goes very aggressive. So that's interesting, but no setup there. Then you get a first entry, second entry long on a terrible bar, so you can't take that, even though it was looking like maybe a breakout pullback. The problem with the breakout pullback is this is a close outside new high on this channel, so it's a little bit risky to go long there, and you can see why. Look at that. They tried to push this thing down and failed. Finally, it comes up here. You get a pullback, just a first entry, and then it runs. Then a pullback, first entry long, pullback. There is a second entry long here. Here, let me see. This is probably, let me just look. I mean, that's right on the level. I don't think you can take that, even though it's there. You are expecting a new high on this channel here, but I think that's a little risky. When you get the higher low, you might consider the higher low here. You might consider the higher low. I'm not going to mark it green, but I'll say that you might consider the higher low after second entry long, because it hasn't moved very far. So that's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. Just to ride it to a new high, which it does. Now we're turning it down again. The new high has been made. So there's a high likelihood of this thing giving us some kind of reversal. We'll draw it like this for now, and we can widen it if necessary. See what this candle does. But probably going to get some sort of a correction here. Okay. All right, if you got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and let me know how you're doing. Do we get some support here? We'll see. Oh, my channel's moving on me. Hang on. Let me make it bigger. So I originally had it here. See, if you just very slightly widen this, it doesn't really give you a closeout side, and I'm not convinced there, so that looks pretty correct to me. Awesome, glad you like it. So the funny thing with that is that this is actually my music. This is that, yeah, it's actually my music. So I'll show you. We're listening to. I have the quality turned down, but here, I'll turn it up. So as you can see, this is me. It's just under my name, Nick Bannock. You can look up Nick Bannock or Nick Bannock Music on YouTube, and you'll find these videos. It's just me playing my handpan. I don't want to get, you know, they have the, I'll turn the quality down so it doesn't mess with the stream, but I don't like the, you can get copyright strikes these days, even if you credit things. So I just only listen to my own music when we do these. Good, I'm glad you like it. Glad you like it. Yeah, I got these long ones on here that are like 1 hour long. I gotta upload some new stuff. I haven't recorded new stuff in a while. I still play a lot, but I haven't recorded in a while. I play every day pretty much, but yeah, it would be nice to record some new stuff at some point. All right, so a couple of things, couple announcements. So if you don't know or want to learn what I do, my whole strategy, it's under here under Freedom Algo on school.com/Freedom Algo. The link is in the chat. It's also in the description. It's 99 bucks a month. There's a free 7-day trial that shows you how it all works, and it gives you access to all the things, community, classroom. There's indicators, tools. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Everything that I do, A to Z. I will warn everyone, I am going on vacation, leaving this week, so my stream schedule is actually every weekday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I only do it on Zoom for people in my membership. Mondays and Fridays, I do YouTube. So I'm going to be on vacation. I'm headed to Italy. So the next time that I'm streaming will not be until August 10th after this, because I'll be out for basically 2 full weeks and I won't be trading during that time. Still a good time to join Freedom Algo though, because you can go through the whole course and everything, and that's pretty helpful. So anyway, it's all in there. If you got questions, you can put it in the chat. Happy to answer any questions about it. If anybody wants to know anything about the membership, since we're live, ask a question, and it's easier for me to respond live than it is over like chat messages anyway. So if you got any questions on the membership, what's included, what's in there, anything like that, just put them in the chat and I'm happy to answer. And all that. Let me see. Yeah, and this music, by the way, I'm playing what's called my Nordley's handpan. I have 2 handpans. I used to have a third, but I ended up selling that one when I got these newer ones, because I liked my newer ones a little bit more. They were like a little bit more expensive, different types of resonance, different types of metal. Though my old one was a lot of fun too. The first one I learned on, I ended up selling that handpan and then getting 2 other ones. So I dragged this line down because it looks like we're going to get a second entry long that's also a triple test right here. Which this thing could end up bouncing pretty heavily. We'll see. However, we already made the new high on that channel, so there's some risk involved if it does go bullish here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to. It looks like we're going to get a doji. Yep, pretty much a doji. So, no real setup there. Gonna get one of my incenses going here. Let's see. We'll go with we go with juniper? Let's go with juniper. Go with the old juniper. Smells pretty good. I got some extra time today, so if there's a bunch of questions that come through, I'm happy to answer them. Also, if anybody has any anything that they want to see in some of the YouTube videos coming out, let me know, because I'm going to record a video today, probably after the stream. I'll tell you what my next ones are going to be. I've got a video coming out tomorrow that is... It's about prop firms versus personal live accounts. So I've got a video coming out that's about prop firms versus using a personal like live cash account. And it's like going through like some of my experiences with that, costly mistakes, stuff that I've heard from other traders that I've talked to. And it's really just kind of just a real talk about, you know, what I've seen with that, because it comes up a lot in the live calls. So I decided to make a whole video about it. So that comes out tomorrow. I got another one scheduled. Right now I'm on Saturday releases. The other one that's scheduled is actually going to be a scalping strategy that works on NQ, gold, ES. And on the video, I think I specifically go through ES and gold futures on that one. That was kind of an idea that came from from our last week's stream. I love these incenses. They come from New Mexico. There we go. My bad. Had to crack the window. All right. Hey, thank you, Lucid. I appreciate that. Yeah, unfortunately, the legend himself, my dog Vinny, passed away. He was a legend, an absolute legend, that dog. It's still hard without him here. It really is. You know, he was just like my guy. Just would hang out with me while I traded. He was always right here, right next to me. I could just pet him whenever. Always sleeping in my office with me. Just pretty much was always wherever I was. But, you know, he made it to 13. Yeah, I just got his ashes, and we're gonna do like a little ceremony for him on Sunday. But yeah, you know, I'm happy that he's not suffering or anything, but it's hard, you know. It's just, it sucks that dogs lives for so short compared to us. It really does. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Lucid. He was, man. He was always showing up, right? He would show up on the stream, pop his head in. He's hilarious. I still got my snake Alice next to me. I'm not going to take her out on this stream. I've taken her out before, but she just ate a huge rat last night, so she's going to be chilling for a couple days. I try not to take her out or handle her after she eats for about 48 hours so that she can digest, because they can get stressed out when they're digesting sometimes. But she's really, really cool too. Yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, you know, you'll see him in if you watch any of like the YouTube shorts that I have, like you'll see if any of the ones or any of the stuff where I'm walking in the woods, sometimes he'll make a cameo because he'll be in the video. If there's any of the stuff where I'm walking in the woods, he's pretty much was always with me. And it's been hard because now when I go on a walk, he's not with me, and it just feels different. Like, I still do my daily walks and I do my trail runs and stuff, he wasn't going trail running with me in the end. He couldn't run very much anymore. He was too old to run for a long period of time. So I would just take him on long walks. But for years, he would do crazy trail runs. And just this last week, I did a really long trail run. I live in Oregon, and I was in the city. I was in Portland, and I used to live in Portland years ago. And there was a trail that I used to run. It's a little over 8 miles long, and it's a pretty hard trail. It has over 2,000 feet of elevation gain, and it's about 8 miles, a little over 8 miles. And I actually was in the city. I had extra time, and it was hot out, but I decided to do the run. And that run, for years, I did it once a week. I remember I used to do it on Fridays after work. And I would do it once a week, and I would bring Vinny with me, and he would do the whole thing when he was in his prime. He would run it. He was such an athlete. But yeah, it's tough. You know, it's tough when they start getting older and they can't do some of that stuff. But man, I have so many good memories with him, and you know, I just feel blessed that he was in my life, and also feel blessed that he lived longer than I expected him to. So that's also a real amazing thing. I got extra time with him because I thought that he was going to pass away like several months ago, but he just didn't want to go. So he made it a lot longer than I expected, and that was a beautiful thing. All right, so we got a first entry short here. We might get a failure here. You got the first entry long, second entry long. It did work. The higher low was no good though, and so we just gotta wait. I think we're gonna range a little bit here for you know, we might range for a few moments. We don't have a consistent high here. This actually misses right there, so we might range between these levels. We'll have to see if they come into play, but that's what it looks like. Okay, cool. So you said the prop firm versus live is a great topic. Okay, cool. So, yep. Hey, Lucid, that is actually awesome to hear that from you, because, so what Lucid's saying here is that, recently switching from prop firm to a live account is something that actually affected mental difference in a much bigger way than expected. Now, this is something I talk about all the time, and I think people just kind of gloss over it. So I really, really think it's important, because I've talked to so many people that they never even actually tried a live account. They only traded with prop because they're newer to trading and they're so popular now. And there's so many people telling you it's a good idea. Well, you're going to see the real talk in that video that comes out tomorrow. I'm not going to talk about it for an extended period of time right now, just because the video that I'm releasing tomorrow is like 17 minutes long of me just literally sitting here and just talking about it, real talk. I even talk about when I was testing it, because I'd started on a live cash account, traded that for a long time. There was a period where I tested the prop thing. I didn't stop my cash account though. I just did both for a little while, and then I stopped the prop thing because I didn't like it. I didn't like what it was doing to my psychology. And it was actually really surprising, because I was trading successfully, then I was trading on a prop, and it was causing me to have all these issues that were like not issues when I was trading before. And then I went back and they just kind of disappeared. And I was like, wow, like there's just something mentally that's just different. And so I talk a lot about it. Hey, good morning. Thanks for being here. And I talk a lot about it on that video. And I talk about like how during that time when I was using the prop, I had an affiliate link that was just, you know, just in my description. I didn't like promote it or anything, but I had an affiliate link there that was just like, if anybody wanted to sign up, I would get like a tiny little commission. And then I did get some commissions from it, not a lot, like maybe a couple $100 at the most. And then I ended up removing it from everywhere because when I stopped using it, I was like, well, I'm not going to promote this thing because I actually think that it can be a problem. You know, I've always talked about what I'm doing in trading. So at the time, I was trading with it, and I was talking about, yeah, I'm using it, it can be effective, whatever. But then after a while, I'm like, this is just a waste of my time. So I stopped using it, learned from it, removed all that stuff. I will say this, I never accepted any promotional money from like these firms, but I know YouTubers who have, and these firms reach out all the time. Like I could go through my email right now and pull out emails. They send me cold emails all the time. Like, hey, we're with so-and-so futures and we're a prop trading firm or prop trading aggregate or whatever. We want to work with you and do this. And they'll pay me if I accept it, like a lot of money just to talk about them on the stream. And I don't do it. I don't accept any of it. I don't even open the emails, but I have them. And I've opened them before, but I don't even open them anymore. I've just seen them. Never accepted any of that money or done any of that. But most of these people out there that have YouTube channels like mine can make a lot more money off of promoting that than they will ever make off of like ads or memberships or whatever. Like if I started to talk about prop firms in a positive way, and I started like trading with prop firms and doing like live trading with my prop firm accounts and all that, they would give me free accounts to use to do it. So I wouldn't have to even probably pay for the accounts in some cases. Then they'd let me do giveaways and they'd do all this stuff, and I'd get thousands of dollars for doing that. But I choose not to because it's not ethical to me. So that video talks about what I've learned about the psychology of it all and how the ecosystem works. And it's really just it's kind of sad, to be honest. There's a lot of nefarious stuff going on. And so you really got to be careful what you're paying attention to with it. And I might get a lot of hate for saying this because, and again, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus or whatever. I'm just saying, like, we all know how the marketing is built for these firms, and they make their money. It's in their business model to make their money off of other people losing money, not making money. So that's just how they're built. They make most of their money off people buying the accounts and then blowing them up over and over again. Yep, and that's the point right there. You said it says it right there in the chat. You said you don't play, or you don't trade with props anymore. You're almost always able to pay yourself with cash and almost never with props. Exactly. So I think I know who you're talking about, and he kind of just disappeared, to be honest with you. So I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. He kind of disappeared. I don't know if like something happened or what. It was odd. Because I had with that person that you're talking about, and I don't want to name names or anything like that, but that person that you're talking about, I actually gave him an opportunity to work, to work within Freedom Algo. I was going to have him build his own courses that were based on his trading methodology, and my idea was that I would teach my trading methodology and he would teach his in there, so that people could learn more than one style. That was actually going to be part of the original system, but he didn't really seize that opportunity. I gave him the opportunity and he just didn't really deliver. And then he kind of just disappeared, like during the time when I was getting ready to launch everything. And I was kind of like, well, I'm just kind of doing this all on my own, so I guess I'm just going to do this on my own. You know, I'm not sure. And then I haven't really heard from him ever since. So I hope he's doing well, but who knows? Who knows? And I will say this, I've seen this over time in my time in trading, because I ran that free Discord for so many years. I'd have people that would show up and be super into it, and they would be like, oh, some of them had been people who had traded for a while and all this stuff, and they'd be really active, and then they would just fall off the face of the earth, and I would never hear from them again. So I'm not really sure what what the story is with all that. I don't know if just some traders just, you know, they take a break from it, or maybe they blow up. I don't know what happens, to be honest. But I got rid of my Discord because there was too many scammers. It was getting annoying. People would show up, DM everybody, try to scam them. People would pretend to be me. I couldn't take it anymore. So I just put everything on the school so that we don't have scammers anymore. I will say this to your question about that person that I think you're talking to. I actually heard from one of my guys recently who is a long-term member of the Discord. He messaged me the other day, and he said that he hasn't heard from him either. So I don't know. All right. Yeah, Lucid, exactly. Never give up. Exactly. You can't, right? Like, yeah, you never want to compromise your morals and ethics for money. I agree. And that's the thing, like, it's all cash grab stuff. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just crazy how much of that there is. Because you can make so much money just being a marketer, promoting something, right? So, I mean, that's why I simplified everything down to not be like that. And trust me, I don't make a lot of money from YouTube ads. Like, I probably get, like, it's probably like $100 a month. Maybe there's been times where it was $150. That's all I really get paid by YouTube ads. Like, it's not a lot. It's really small. It's just like what it is. I mean, I still leave it monetized because, like, why not? But it's like, it's a tiny amount of money. So a lot of people, like, with a following my size, they could get paid thousands of dollars from a prop firm promo. So that's what people do. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But hey, I mean, if those guys are actually using the prop firm effectively, then, you know, more power to them. But I don't know. I don't think it's good for psychology most of the time. For most people. Again, some people can do it effectively and it works for them, and that's great for them. But I think for most people, it's just there's certain switches that go off, and I'll stop talking about it because it's all in that video. Yeah, traders. I don't know. It's just how it goes. People come and go. But yeah, I wish him well. You know, I hope he's doing awesome, and hopefully he's, you know, crushing it and doing really well. I mean, that same goes for everyone I've pretty much met in this industry since I've been in it. Like, I've really only established, like, pretty good good connections with people, and I just hope that everybody that I've come across is doing well. I hope that all the traders have longevity. I've definitely seen some people who come into Discord over the years, and they're like, oh yeah, like, I'm gonna be, they think they're gonna be the next, like, you know, 9-figure trader, and they're really active for 2 weeks, and I never hear from them again. So you know what happens. Yeah, exactly. What you're saying, the people that full port their evals, like all that sort of stuff. Well, the thing is with that is that they're probably not even paying for those eval accounts, a lot of them, because they're like, they have so much money coming in from the affiliate revenue and the promos, and then even sometimes getting, like, free accounts and stuff. There's not really a lot of drawback there. But also, think about what that does to your psychology. What do you think it does to your psychology if you trade on an account recklessly just to pass in one day, and now you have an actual funded account? Well, you already know that you break all of your own rules. So you've reinforced a bad habit of breaking your own rules for how you're going to actually trade. You're inevitably going to do it again. It's too tempting not to. It's just the way our brains work. Hang on one second, everybody. I gotta check. I got a message that I have to check real quick. So I'm just gonna look at my other screen for a minute. Okay. All right, so this is gonna be. Sorry, I gotta deal with something on my schedule for 1 second. So let me just deal with this. Hang on. I'll get back to the chat in just a second. I just gotta deal with something real fast. Okay. All right. Almost back. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. I had to deal with something that was kind of time sensitive real quick. Okay. All right, I'm back. Sorry. Okay, let's see. Yep, I agree. I agree with that stuff on the prop stuff too. And then the longevity part, yeah, long term is hard. You're right. Yeah, you're right. That probably makes sense. If you give 100 people a statistically proven strategy, only about 10 will succeed because of the mental aspect. You're probably right. You're probably right. All right. So we're breaking through this channel, coming back down. This level ended up not coming into play, by the way. So we're not even going to track that level. I'm just going to track this upper high just in case. We'll still track this lower level. That seemed to be an area that we did kind of bounce from. We'll drag over the range just so that our measured move is still up here. Looks like we're getting a little bit more of a strong correction here. So hold on, let me fix this. All right, so we'll see what this correction does. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know the stats on all that stuff. It'd be interesting to try an experiment like that. I think the challenge with all that stuff, though, too, is like, you say statistically proven strategy, but the reality is almost every strategy that I've ever seen that actually works well has some level of discernment in it, including my own, where you have to, like, understand, like, it, how do I say? There's not a strategy that I know of that exists where you just have, like, a few indicators, and when A, B, C, and D are true, you take the trade on the indicators alone, because then you could code it into an algorithm and it would just trade on its own. So almost every trading strategy I've ever seen that actually works has some level of discernment, where even if you're using indicators or whatever, there's some, like, understanding the bias of the market, or like drawing a trend line and combining that with some indicators, or whatever. Like, my strategy doesn't require indicators. You can just use trend lines and you know, ranges, support and resistance and stuff, and then understand the, like, that I look for certain types of formations and candlestick formations within those setups. But even if you identify the candlestick formations, it doesn't matter, because you have to understand the context and have discernment on what the market is doing based on the trend lines that you draw, how you position them, all that sort of stuff. And I think almost every trading strategy that's effective is like that. So it's only going to be statistically proven for the person that trades it. But then for each other person that learns it, it's going to have different statistics because their discernment is different than the person who came up with that strategy. So for example, I might draw a trend line that looks like this, and you might have the trend line drawn like this in the same area. And we have two different ways that we're looking at the market on the same price action. And you might think that you're trading the same strategy as me, but we are looking at it differently, right? That little nuance affects the way that your trading will go. Yeah, I agree. You need that screen time and discretion. And like, that's what people don't understand. I don't believe that there's a trading strategy that exists, that I know of at least, that's effective, that where you can just buy the strategy from the person and just immediately be trading it effectively because it's based on like some magic bullet of indicator combinations or whatever, and you don't even need to know anything about like how price moves or any of that. I don't think it exists. Even if somebody gave you some strategy that's really like, seems like really complex, it's got, you know, 12 indicators, and they give you this whole thing and it tells you when all the conditions are true and all this stuff, still doesn't matter. There's still discernment that needs to go into it for that strategy to work. Because that's the thing. Like, I could put a bunch of indicators on the chart and probably come up with a strategy right now that has better than 50% win rate, but it's only going to get higher than that with discernment. And there's going to be like, that's just the way it is. And I know that because I used to do it. That was originally what I used to do. I used to come up with all different kinds of combinations of things to come up with a strategy that was effective for trading. And I had my own system that I had built that was pretty sweet. It was based off of linear regression, and I had linear regression channels and all this stuff. And I built my own indicators that charted out these linear regression channels. And I really, and then I'd use like wave trend for an oscillator to go with it. And I would like I would trade based on price action, but also using these extra things as extra criteria. And it had a decent win rate, but the problem is it still required that discernment. And I found that by switching to just pure price action, the win rate's even higher. It requires more discernment, but it also has a higher win rate. So that's the way it goes. So I eventually moved away from doing that strategy to this. And it probably, I mean, that strategy probably still works. I haven't traded it in several years now. But if I did, I know that like it's just still an effective strategy. It did work. It's just a different way of looking at the price action. And what I realized over time was that all of that stuff is just a different way of looking at the price action. Indicators are just applying mathematics, different mathematical formulas to the price that's already on the chart. So everything that you're using there is just a different way of looking at what the price is doing. That's all it is. The big uptrend that I drew, yeah, there's a subtlety here. So there's actually two legs right here, and then this one went to a new high. One leg, pullback, second leg. So that was a subtle two legs to a new high. And then also you had a bigger two legs to a new high like this that went a little further. So yeah, two legs to a new high in both ways. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. Like if all we had was a line chart, if we had a line chart of just the close, we didn't even have candles, we just had a line chart of the closing price, then yeah, we could still make a strategy based on price action that works. Because, yeah, all we're doing with indicators is applying mathematics to the price. Like, all indicators are calculating. Here, I can even show you. You know what? Let's just do it real quick. Let me pull up. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Hold on. I'm actually just going to show you guys. So what I'm going to pull up is, let's pull up the ES. Give me 1 second to get it. I'm going to pull up the ES. I'm just going to put a, I'm going to pull it up on TradingView. I'm just going to put up a 1 minute chart. It's going to be lagged because I don't have the real-time data on there. Okay, so here's TradingView, right? It's just a 1 minute chart. Nothing special. Just a 1 minute ES chart. Again, it's going to be lagged. This isn't the actual price right now because I don't have the real-time data on TradingView anymore because I don't really use it that much. But let's just pull up here. Let's just pull up like EMA. I just want to put up like a moving average, a regular moving average exponential. So I have already some other stuff on here. We have volume on here, right? Inputs. But let's look at EMA. So here's what's going to happen with an EMA. It's going to have a length. So this length is 9. Here, I'll turn off the other indicator. So now we just have EMA. I'm going to make it yellow, and I'm going to make it thicker, just so we can see it better. All right. So we have an EMA on the chart. Now, it's based on a 9 period, so we can change that. Let's change it to a 21. Now, I can choose what source it's based on. Close. I can choose all these different sources, right? I can do high plus low divided by 2. I can do high, low, close divided by 3. Open, high, low, close divided by... I can do all these different things. I can do it based on the open price, which will shift it. So instead of calculating the 21 EMA, which is the exponential moving average, which is just a way of calculating a moving average, but applying a little bit of extra weight to the most recent candles, I can calculate it based on where the price opens or every minute, or where it closes every minute, or the high of the price during that 1 minute candle, or the low. I could just leave it on close, and I could change the chart to a line chart, right? The line is the close price still. That's what that is. It's just the closing price. And then now the yellow line is the exponential moving average of the closing price. It doesn't really matter. Like with the indicators, I could do MACD, you know, moving average, convergence, divergence. I could put a MACD on the chart, change the inputs. I could change the source, but all it's doing is calculating based on how many candles I want it to calculate on of the closing price here. The fast length is on 12. The other one's on 26. And there's a signal length that's an EMA of the 9. It's just like, and then you can choose if it's going to be based on EMA or a simple moving average. It's just like, you know, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Yeah, the old linear regression one, I can put it on the chart. Where is it? Where is it? Linear. Oh wait, hold on. I have to remove some stuff, I think, for it to work. Hold on. Is it not going to let me use it? Let me see. There it is. This is my indicator right here that I built. It's the linear regression indicator. It shows you the linear regression. Puts a channel on the chart for you based on linear regression. It's defaulted to 100 candle look back. You can change that. It also shows you the linear regression based ATR. That's the purple lines, the high and low of the linear regression ATR. And then it shows you linear regression based EMAs with a simple line that shows them, and then it just kind of tracks it. And I used to trade with this. But again, all that it's doing is applying linear regression to the price based on a certain look back. It doesn't really do anything for me. At the end of the day, it's not really doing anything. So let me close that. Yeah, exactly. Before I had my price action course, that's what I used to do, and that's originally what I would show people when I just used to show people that was all free, you know, because it was just what I was doing at the time. But I eventually just kind of stopped doing it. And I'm not saying that there's no value in it. Like if it helps you see the market, whatever helps you read the market is what you should use, right? Like whatever helps you read the chart in a way that, you know, works for you is what you should use. If that means that your chart has 10 indicators on it, then fine. I'm not one of these people who's like, don't ever do that. It's just like if whatever you're doing works, just do it, right? Like if what you're doing helps you read the market properly and it helps you trade effectively and gives you a positive result, then don't listen to me with what I'm doing. Do what works for you. Don't change your strategy because I said what works for me. Change your strategy because it doesn't work. Then change your strategy, of course. But if it works for you, then keep doing it and don't listen to anyone else. I don't believe that there's only one way to trade. I don't believe that there's only one type of trading. I don't believe that there's only one way to be effective. I don't believe that, you know, every trade, like that there's one trading style that's superior to all others. I actually think that it's all very personal. I get asked that question a lot. What do I think of order flow? I think if it helps you read the market, then you should use it. If it doesn't help you read the market, you shouldn't use it. When I was using it, it didn't help me read the market. I tested it for a while, and I didn't find it helped me like learn anything. Because like what is it really? I mean, all it does is helps chart out like it depends on which type of order flow you're using. Like you can use the order flow that shows you like the cumulative volume delta. You can use the footprint charts. All that it really is doing is trying to visually represent what is happening with the order book that's in the level 2 data. And I've met traders who trade off the depth of market. They have a DOM pulled up, and they just say that the DOM tells you already what's in the order flow anyway, just in a more like table looking version of it. So some people I know, they swear that looking at the depth of market helps them. And that's how they trade. They trade off the depth of market and they have a chart. Some people just use order flow and they don't use the depth of market. Some people don't use any. And I'm one of the people that doesn't use any of those because I didn't find that any of it helped me. I use tick charts, candlestick tick charts. This is a 2000 tick ES chart. I think by having the tick chart instead of a time-based chart, that helps me with everything that I need to know about what the price is doing. If I were using time-based charts, then I think a tool like that might be helpful. Because you can't really see everything that's going on within the candle the same way. Like it doesn't really, like the speed at which it's printing gives me some idea of what's happening. I think that the order flow stuff, it doesn't really matter to me because it's like, who cares if there's a giant order sitting somewhere that's absorbing other orders? Who cares? That order can be canceled while it's even in the time where it's starting to get filled. It can still be canceled, removed. It can be partially filled. People will set an order of 1,000 contracts somewhere and then remove it. Like that kind of stuff happens all the time. People getting absorbed because they're doing market orders and getting absorbed by limit orders, or people that are having limit or people that are using limit orders and then market orders are coming in and taking all those. Well, it doesn't tell me really much. I can just see the flow of the price action with the tick chart. So I think by removing all the variables and having it be so simple, it just makes me see things more clearly. Removes distractions. And that's important for me. Because it's hard to be locked in and in the zone if you've got all these things that you got to second guess. That's at least just how I see it. Hey, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. If you got any more questions or anything you want to talk about, just drop it in the chat. Happy to talk about pretty much whatever stuff you want to cover. Again, reminder, if you want to learn about my strategy, if you want to learn any of the stuff that I do, the Freedom Algo membership has a 7-day free trial. And it's linked in the chat. It's also linked in the description. And let's see. Oh, like this one here. If there was a clean second entry long in that, I would have said that, yeah, you can take that. Because even though we made a new high, we might be, like, when you zoom out and look at the price action, we're trying to, it looks like we might try to go for this measured move up here from the range. So I think that, yeah, like, it's a very reasonable thing to do. There was already 2 legs here. Leg 1 and leg 2 in that trend that did perfectly, get achieved. So there is that aspect of things, but it doesn't really matter because I think that that was the main target. So yeah, if we had a second entry long in this trend right here, I think that's reasonable. Because we already got the new high, but price was continuing. There might have been a flatter channel that was going to form and just continue. And then this goes down. Sphinx, sort of the way that I do it. So I trade Monday through Friday. And the way I do it is like this. I trade from about, call it like 6:15 a.m. Pacific time. So about 15 minutes before the market opens until about 8:30. So 2 hours after the market opens. So I trade for about 2 hours. And then while I'm trading, I post screenshots of the chart in... Excuse me, there was no time for me to mute there. Hold on. Dad sneeze. So I post screenshots of it here. Let me just show you. So throughout the session, what I do is I post these screenshots of the chart with the trade setups that formed following my strategy, right? So this was earlier. This was at whatever time that was, 3 hours ago, some point. The timestamp's on there, 6:33 a.m. Pacific time. So I post the screenshots so that people can follow along with how I'm drawing out my trend lines and mapping out the price action that follows my strategy that I teach in the community. And so I post these throughout the whole session. And you can see this was like another screenshot. So I post those throughout the session. I teach the whole thing in the course. And then what I do is I go live at 8:30 on YouTube on Mondays and Fridays, but on Zoom on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for my members. And what I do is I go over all of the price action up to that point. So I go over all of the trade setups that formed why they were valid, why there were certain areas that were invalid. I go over all the trend lines, how I looked at the market, and I cover all of it. And then what I do is I talk about the live action for a little while. Now, I'm not live trading, like entering and exiting live. That's not what I do. Like I'm not a live trader. I just do a live review and a Q&A to help teach the way that the strategy works. When I trade, I just want to be fully locked in and paying attention to what I'm doing, and trying to live stream that is not it. I've tested it and it just doesn't work for me. I just do much better when I'm just trading and then I'm like, locked in. So that's how I do it. My whole thing is meant to teach you how to do this on your own. So it's meant to teach you how to read the market. You learn how to read the price action. You learn the strategy for scalping, the way that I scalp on the ES. And then you learn how to implement it yourself. So it's really like that concept of like, teaching a person to fish versus giving a person a fish. It's really trying to teach that. And then the live calls are support to help you learn and see how I looked at things and why I looked at things and answer the questions so that you can start to learn how to discern the price action in a similar way that I do. Yeah, for sure, Sphinx, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, again, if you want to check it out, there's a 7-day free trial, so there's no obligation. And then then you get access and everything. And I would say, but I will let you know that like I am going on vacation, so I won't be trading the next 2 weeks. But that doesn't matter because realistically, when you join Freedom Algo, it takes like you probably want to go through the course the first 2 weeks. Like really go through the course line by line during that time. Go through the free resources that you get on the free trial, then go through the course. And, you can go through the course in 7 days, no problem, for sure. So I think that, you want to go through the course and then you want to, start watching the market, applying your knowledge. And realistically, I think if you're committing to something like what I do, you want to give yourself several months. It's not something where you want to do the course, do a 1 month thing and be like, oh, did this work? You're not going to get enough out of it. It takes a long time to become a good chart reader. It takes most people several months. So I always tell people that if you're committing to a strategy like this, you should really be committing at least 6 months of your time to, hey, I'm going to dedicate 6 months to really studying this, learning it, and properly executing on it the way that it's supposed to be done to give it a full shake. Just like if you were trying to learn how to do something, like if you were going to learn how to become an electrician or something, I mean, you need more than 6 months. But you want to see if you really like it, you really need to give things enough time and to see if it really resonates for you. If you're going to become a specialist in something, it just takes a while. A lot of people will do this thing where they buy a trading course, do it for a few weeks, do it for maybe a month, and then they're like, yeah, I didn't like it, and they just put it on a shelf, and it's like, you're never really giving things a fair chance if you do it that way. So I just let everybody know, with trading, with what we do, you should be committing to a long-term outlook, and know that you're going to trade on just a demo account for a while, a live demo account. Do it for a while. Don't risk your actual capital. The cool thing with this is that you can learn how to trade without wasting really much money at all. I mean, if you're paying for a membership like mine, it's $99 a month. You're only losing $100 a month for that. And then if you're paying for real-time market data with NinjaTrader, it's only $4 a month. So $4 a month is pretty much nothing. And then, you fund your account so that you can have a live demo account. So you fund an account with whatever, $100, and then you just pay $4 a month for your data feed. And that gives you a bunch of leeway to just trade with your demo account for a while. And that's all you really need to get started in this. You don't need a huge thing. You don't need to have a ton of capital to start learning this. You don't need a huge investment. You don't need to risk a bunch. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it small. And protect your hard-earned income. I can't stress that enough. Don't become one of the statistics that, washes out of trading. Just don't become that. Hey, I'll be right back. Someone's knocking on my door. I don't know how kids can sleep so long. Like it's just crazy. The summertime, how kids can sleep so long. That was my daughter. But it's just funny to me. I'm like, how can you sleep that long? Like, I've already been up for, sheesh, I've already been up for 4 hours. All right, so this level ended up not holding here. So it looks like we might come back and test the original range. We can draw a wider channel as a possibility. It's not guaranteed that we're going to have a little bit of a wider channel here, but we'll draw it as a possibility. And we'll go from there. All right, does anybody have any questions for me? Any questions, anything that you want me to discuss? I'll probably wrap up the stream here soon. I didn't realize I've been streaming for over an hour, but probably wrap it up soon. I'm heading to Italy this weekend, so looking forward to that. All right, everybody. Well, I think we might wrap up here then, unless anything else comes through. I'll give it like another few seconds just in case something pops up in the chat. I will see all of you when I get back from Italy. I'll be back to streaming a little more. It'll be a little bit more than 2 weeks from now. Oh, we're in Italy? I'm heading to a couple of places. So I am going to be... I'm going to be in Naples first, just for like a day. And then I'm heading to the Amalfi Coast. So I'll be on the Amalfi Coast for about 4-ish days. Then I'm heading up to Rome for a few days. And then I'm heading to Tuscany, to a part of Tuscany. And I'll also be going to Pisa while I'm in Tuscany. And should be awesome. Going to a wedding. I'm the officiant of a wedding, actually, that's in Tuscany. So before the wedding, I'll be just doing a little trip to Amalfi Coast in Rome, and then I'll be going to Tuscany. Awesome. I appreciate that, Colin. I appreciate that. Yeah, it should be a really sweet trip. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be really hot. That's the only thing. But yeah, we'll see. We will see. I was listening to an intense podcast before. I just got a text from my fiance. She was trying to put on the Bluetooth, and my device was connecting, and I think it was playing the podcast in her office. Pretty funny. Always happens. I appreciate that. Yeah, this trip is just going to be me and the fiance. Me and the fiance for this trip. My kids will be staying with their mom. I'm divorced, so my kids will be there with me half the time, and they're with their mom half the time. But unless one of us is doing a trip. So they're actually going on a trip with... One of them's going actually on a trip to stay with his grandfather. The other two are going on a trip with their mom this time. And then me and the fiance are going to Italy. But when I went to Japan back in April, the kids all came with us. So the trip was me, my fiance, and then all my kids. And we went to Japan. And that was awesome. Awesome, Sphinx. Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Sphinx, are you... I don't recognize your name, so are you already in Freedom Algo? I don't know people's YouTube names sometimes. Sometimes I don't know. Okay, so 1-5 production, that's a good question. So you see what I did here? I drew a tight channel, like a 3 or 4 bar channel, and then I drew a wider one as a possibility. So when the price keeps going like this, usually I think, okay, there's probably a wider channel in play. So I'll draw it as a possibility. knowing that I only have 1-2 swings of it and not a third swing yet. So I know that this channel hasn't been confirmed, but you can trade that. When you trade just like the break of a channel that's just like a 3-bar channel, you can do that, but it's always going to be context dependent, like where it's actually located. So a good example might be, let me see if we have a good example today. Well, here's one. This is a tight channel down with a close outside new low and then higher low second entry long. So that's like an example of where you could draw a wider channel there, but it doesn't really, it wouldn't help you because this is a break new low. Similarly over here, tight channel up, close outside, new high, second entry short. That's another example of a one where a wider channel was not needed here. Now, here's the thing. And this is, you're not going to like this answer, but this is just the way it is. You don't know for sure that there isn't a wider channel that's forming there. You don't know for sure. But that's why nothing is guaranteed in trading. You can have a high probability of success. You know, even 95%, maybe even 98% chance of success. But it's not going to be 100 because you don't always know for certain. So in this case right here, this is a nice trade. It's a break of this trend line. And it's a close outside of this one. First entry short, close outside, new high, second entry short. I marked it yellow, though, because it's not guaranteed in this spot. It's not perfect for me because it's above the EMA, 1, going right into it. And 2, how do you know for sure? How do you know for sure that you don't have some sort of channel that looks like this forming, right? That was going to go this way, a little bit wider. You don't know for sure. It's not really guaranteed yet. There's no real way to know that. Now, if you got a lower high here, that like if this barely broke lower and then gave you a lower high, I'd probably mark it as a red arrow short to the downside. But you don't get those very often. Those are the ones that are almost guaranteed when they do give you that confirmation. But you don't get them very often. So I would say it just comes from experience of knowing the likelihood of it being a wider channel or not based on the current price action and what you've observed from the way price moves over many hours of staring at a chart. Oh, cool, Sphinx. That's cool. Awesome. That's actually good to know. Yeah, I like, I honestly was talking about this the other day. Like, I try to make these videos to help people understand that the ES is a lot more smooth. Yeah, for sure, 1.5 production. And remember, like, you're going to find from me that, like, I look at things a little bit different from Mac. I originally did learn from Mac, but I do look at things different. I haven't watched any of Mac's videos in a really long time. Like, probably, I don't even know, over a year, something like that. I just do my own thing now. I don't really watch any trading content. I just make my own stuff now because I don't want to be distracted by anything. And also, I do look at the market different than him. I learned from him, but there's things I do differently with the way that I do my take profits and the way I do my channels. And you'll notice that I'm probably a little bit more conservative with my entries than he is because I want everything needs to make sense to me. So when I'm coming up with, like, if I mark a trade as risky, like I do them as yellow arrow trades, it's because I wasn't confident that there might not be a wider trend that's forming or something like that. When I mark it as a green arrow or red arrow, it's like I feel like there's almost no chance of me losing. Now, of course, there's always a chance of me losing, but it's like I have a stricter criteria for what is an A+ or an A setup. I don't really go for a certain number of points or a profit target. What I do is but I have limits on what I do. So I only trade for 2 hours and then I only take up to 4 trades. That's how I do it. I only take up to 4. Yesterday I had 4. I only take up to 4 and then I stop. And that has to do with just over time, my discipline of learning that if I start taking more than that, I feel like I start over trading and having some issues. I find that 1 to 4 trades is enough for me to be happy with my day. So that's what I do. I take 1 to 4 scalp trades within 2 hours of the session, and that's my trading day. I keep it real chill. I'm going to get back to you in a second here, Lucid, by the way. I saw your comment. I just give me a second. So that's how I do it. And yeah, and Sphinx, the whole thing that I try to do is like, you know, I try to educate people on this. Like the NQ literally was called by professional traders the Widowmaker. Like it has a reputation for being absolutely insane. And so so that's the thing. Like it's not, there's no reason to trade it when you have more stable assets like the ES that have better margin anyway. Like the ES only costs 500 for a contract to trade. The NQ costs 1,000. There's a lot of reasons that I don't like it, but that's an example of one. All right, let me go back to your question or your comment, Lucid. You said I had a short-term downtrend, made a new low, then draw the channel from that low. Does that mean that I need another new extreme again? Aren't I supposed to find a new, bigger channel? No. Like, all right, let me go back over there. Let me go back over there. Short-term downtrend, close outside, new low, then we get a new trend up. No, there's nothing to say that we need to have a new wider channel. No. The down channel played out. Everything to the downside had played out at that point. So now I'm just looking for, if it might go lower and we might get some sort of a flatter channel. We might, or we might go higher here, but I'm just tracking whatever the price is doing. And in this case, it was going up. And then it gets another close outside. And now I expect a new high to be made, which it does. And then it makes another leg up. And then we get a two-legged correction. And now we form a flatter channel up. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I hear from everybody. Pretty much everyone that I talk to says the same thing, that when they switch to ES, they get better results. I've literally to this day not had one person that come back to me and say, you know what? I get better results trading NQ than I do ES. I've never had one single person say that, with the exception of them saying, well, I make more money trading NQ than ES. But it's like, well, for how long? Because your losses are bigger too. So how long does that sustain you? That's the question. All right, Creative Genius. Hello, friend. Oh, that's cool. You've been following me for a long time. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Always good to have the long-term followers and new people here. And, you know, and I appreciate that. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, exactly, Sphinx. Like, trading is already stressful enough. Don't make it worse, right? You know, like, don't make it worse by picking assets that suck to trade. Oh, the most recent price action. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. Thanks for that, Love Trill. So, Lucid. Okay, if you meant the most recent one, yes, short-term downtrend, close outside new low. Well, if I draw the channel from the low, I mean, you could draw from this low. There's not really a channel there. But what you should do when you start to have a channel that actually forms is draw it. Right here, for example. I don't know if that's what you mean. Lucid, let me know in the chat if we're talking about the same thing. Maybe just clarify what you mean. You could even give me a timestamp if you want that you're talking about. This was at 9:29. This is like 9:54 for me. Because I'm not quite sure. I want to make sure we're talking about the same stuff, so I'm not answering questions the wrong way or answering the wrong question. Yeah. You know, hey, listen, if you were here earlier, I made a comment about that actually. I was saying earlier that when you're trading, and when you're learning this, you should commit to this being a long-term process of learning, and you shouldn't really risk much of your own money. Like I was talking before about how, like, for example, like if you wanted to learn my strategy, my membership is $99 a month with a 7-day free trial. And so you're paying basically $100 a month. You're paying $99 a month. Then for your live data through NinjaTrader, you can get a free NinjaTrader account. You could have the free account. You could put like $100 in there to fund it, but not actually touch that 100. Just put it in there to fund it. Now you've spent that $100. It's in there, but it's not spent. It's just sitting in there. And then you sign up for a $4 a month live data feed. $4 a month is all you need for level 1 CME top of book level 1. That's all you need for chart trading. You don't need the level 2 unless you're using order flow or depth of market trading, which we don't even do. So you just need the level 1 top of book. It's $4 a month. Or you can do the $12 a month if you want to have all of the CME top of book level 1. But you don't need it. You just need the $4 one because you're only trading the equity indices. So it's pretty cheap, and then you just trade on a live demo account with on the live market data. It works almost exactly the same as a cash account. Like it's a live demo from NinjaTrader. You can trade that with the live data, and you're really not paying much, and you're getting to learn how to trade without risking your own money. And you just do that for several months until you really know what you're up to, and then you don't quit your day job. You have your job that you still make money from. You don't risk your hard-earned income. You start really slow on the process. That's the way to go. Okay, Sphinx. What is my criteria to draw a channel? 3 bars moving in one direction from a higher low point, or a higher high, or a like a high or low point on the chart. So I draw off of the low of a move, like right here, or sometimes off the higher low if that fits the price action better. But usually off of the extreme, so off the low. Like in this case up here, I have this trend drawn off the high, and then I have this one drawn off of a lower high, because if you try to draw a channel from here, it's going to be ridiculous. Like this is not a channel, right? Like this is absurd. It doesn't fit the price action. So you'll use the lower high there from that swing. So you draw off of one of the highs or lows to make a downtrend, and off of one of the lows or higher lows to draw the uptrend. And you want 3 bars in a row in the direction. So in this case, we had 3 bars in a row, 4, 5. Now we're even at 6 here. And some people would actually argue that this is a tighter channel and that this is actually a closeout side, right? Some people would actually argue. My original trend was like this, right? I think that's kind of suspicious, because now to me, I wouldn't take that short, even though it does fit the criteria, because the wider channel still fits, and that doesn't look like a closeout side to me. Some people would argue that this is a second entry short that you should take. Some people would argue for that, and it is if you interpreted that as tight, but I think that that's maybe a B setup. That's not going to work a lot of the time, because this was too tight for me to really be calling that a closeout side. So that's kind of how I look at it. Hey, you just took the scalp. But you see, I'm saying that that's a riskier setup, right? But if you took it, you know, fair enough. You are looking for a new low on that down channel there. So fair enough. Yeah, pretty much. 3 consecutive candlesticks in the same direction can start a trend if it's from one of the extreme points. So yes, that's how I do it. Let me see. Wait. How do you tell? All right, hold on. I'm off track on my questions. Lucid, you asked, isn't that wrong? Like, you'll be looking for a second entry short, even if we make a new extreme? I don't know what you mean, Lucid. I really don't know what you mean. We're looking for a second entry short here because we don't have a new low on this wider down channel yet. And we just, you know, so we don't have one yet. So I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. All right. Traders. How do you tell? Well, trader, here's the thing, trader. You're saying that for 6 years without progress, if you're back testing and forward testing, did you use the same strategy for 6 years straight and have no progress? If that's the case, then you should have probably not used that strategy. You don't need 6 years to know if a strategy works. And how often were you changing your strategy? That's the other question. Yeah, exactly. 1-5 production. Like, that is this is one of those ones that's up to your discernment. Me personally, I wouldn't have taken this short, but if we got a lower high, then I probably would have said yes, that you could that's a better setup there. Just because that channel was pretty tight. Now, if this was slightly different, right? Like all right, so here's what I mean. This candle right here. If this candle was like a red body candle or something and it did look like it closed outside, then I'd say that that's better. But because these are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles in a row, to me, there hasn't really been much of a pullback. So I would probably draw the channel a little wider. Now, you could argue even if I did draw it wider like this, that still is a close outside, right? So I think that's reasonable. I do. But it's just hard because this one, that drawing it like this also still fits pretty nicely. So that's one of those discernment ones. In real time, that's a tough one. That's why I'm saying it's a B setup. It's not exactly crystal clear. Okay. The next bar down, the one outside the channel, would be an entry for a short. This one here is the entry. You enter 1 tick after this bar closes. So this is your signal bar. So you technically enter on this bar right here. You enter right here in my strategy. 1 tick below the bar. So this is where you enter. And your stop loss goes 1 tick above it. All right, so trader, you said you tried 3 very popular strategies in 6 years. The reality is that no strategy is consistently profitable. Only one strategy I've tried was profitable for 2 months straight, then right back in the gutter. Well, I'm going to argue that it might not have been the strategy. It might have been how you were trading. I'm sorry to say, I'm not saying that to be rude. It might have been your mentality. It might have been mistakes you were making. It might have been, revenge trading. Like, that's what I'm going to argue there. Or it could be that you were actually trading a strategy that wasn't that good. That does exist. But most of the time, people are not even trading the strategy the way it's supposed to be traded over an extended period of time. The strategy that I trade has worked as far back as you can go on charts because it's just price action. So as long as you keep your mentality in check, it works. Like, I've seen that over time. Oh, gotcha, Lucid. All right, you have 3 downtrends. First one needed a new low. Okay, we got it. Then it started another short-term downtrend from the high, made a new low. No, you can have so you can have a trend like this, right? You can have a downtrend that has an uptrend in it. That, like, you can have this. This can be an actual way that price is moving. And inside of a downtrend, there's still an uptrend in there, and you still want to respect it inside the downtrend. You still want to respect it. Doesn't mean that you're going to go long. It just means that you're going to wait until it plays out to go short. So that's how that works. That's how the strategy goes. Lucid, you're not in the... You haven't done the course yet, have you? The full price action course? Let me know. Because I'm trying to figure out, like, if I can point you to the section that covers that. I gotta say, I might be notorious for this, but I literally, like, a while back said I was gonna go, and now I stayed for way longer, but it's fine. We're having good conversation, so I'll stick around as long as we have decent questions coming through and conversation happening. Okay, gotcha, Lucid. Yeah, that's probably... I mean, and, like, you know, you do you, of course. Like, I don't want you to sign up unless you want to yourself. Like, it's not... I'm not trying to hard sell anybody on anything, but I'll tell you that, like, everything makes a lot more sense when you go through it, because I go over everything in order, step by step, in depth. And I've added to it over time, and I even have, like, extra resources in there. Like, there's just a lot more that I do in there that I think makes it make more sense. It's hard to do it just, like, on live streams, if that, you know, that makes sense. It's not as dedicated to each specific nuance and topic. It all works together, though. Oh, why did I draw another one? Well, because just because you have a short-term downtrend that makes a new low doesn't mean that the price is going to reverse every time and start going up. You can get, like, the price is either going up, going down, or going sideways. And just because we make a new extreme doesn't mean that the price isn't going to continue in that direction. Like, look at yesterday. Yesterday is a good example of this. So yesterday was a day where price went down steep, then it went down in a shallow way, and then steep again. Then it reversed up, but then it still went down again. So what does this tell us? Well, if you have a downtrend here and you already had a close outside new low, and then it went up, well, it went down again. Close outside new low, close outside new low, close outside. It just kept going lower. There wasn't exactly one channel there. It was making new down channels throughout the day for a while, all the way up until, you know, until like 8:30, and then it reversed up. But the thing is, like, it was bearish. It's just because we were getting closes outside and new lows doesn't mean that it always reverses all the way up. And sometimes those reversals were not making new highs. You know, we go off of what we go off of what we see happening. Sometimes you get stuff like this where, you know, you'll have a steep trend, and then somehow we form some flatter trend. And then sometimes we even form an even flatter trend. And we have like 3 distinct, slightly downward biased channels. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That can happen. You're not always going, it's not going to always be close outside new low, and then uptrend, close outside new high, and then downtrend, close outside new low. If it was that easy, then, I mean, we would just have bots that trade it. It's different though. Like, there's, you know, price can continue even after close outside new low. It can form a flatter channel. It can form a range. There's a lot of things that can happen. A lot of things. Okay. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, why did I decide to use tick charts? I talked about this actually a little earlier in the stream, because tick charts show you the actual transaction volume that's happening. So every candle is 2,000 transactions between like buyers and sellers, 2,000 trades. So the thing is as it goes, each bar has 2,000 trades. Now, if the bar prints in 5 seconds, there's a lot of transaction volume. If the bar prints in 1 minute and 30 seconds, there's slower transaction volume. But it's always 2,000 trades. That helps me see what's going on. It helps me see how the market's moving, how aggressive the buying and selling is. It helps me see that stuff, so I don't even need to look at volume. And I just think it gives you more data than a time-based chart does. Because you could have a 1-minute candle that has 4,000 transactions in it, and then a 1-minute candle that has 500 transactions in it, and they're just side by side, and that's the data is discrepant. So hopefully that helps. Then you have to use volume as a filter for seeing like what's going on, and I don't want to have to do that. So I get more data from the tick chart and more nuance in the movement. Okay, it helps me read the price action better is the short answer, I guess. Okay, listen, guys, we don't need to position it like that. You don't need to say things like it's a you problem. Like I was saying that my response earlier was it could be related to mindset, psychology. It could be related to bad habits, revenge trading. There's so many variables outside of just the strategy itself. The strategy can be bad, but it can also be other variables. Like let's keep it chill here. We don't need to be we don't need it to come off like aggressive. I don't think you meant to, but I don't think he was trying to be aggressive, but and the whole 90% never profitable statistic also comes from the fact that a lot of people trade one time and then they never trade again. Or they open an account and trade for 2 weeks and then they never trade again. And they just become a statistic of someone who lost money. If we had a metric of what's the percentage of traders who've traded for at least a year who've become profitable, it would be much higher than 10%. I think. I don't know because there's no way to actually measure that. There's no one who measures that, but that's at least how I see it. I think the data and the statistics of it are all wonky because it's also based on what the brokerages release and all that sort of stuff. I will say this. Most of the time, I always say this. If your trading is not effective, the strategy is one aspect. You do have to have a strategy that you know is proven to work, that you've tested on a simulator account over an extended period of time, that you've executed on a simulator and known that it works over a long period of time in various market conditions. If that is true, and then you're not profitable when you actually start trading it with money, then it's probably your own thing. Because if you've been able to prove something over a long period of time with live data, forward testing on the simulator in real time, and it executes and it works, then it should work when you trade with real cash. And if it doesn't, it's because when trading with real cash triggered something psychologically that's causing problem. That's what I'm saying. All right, I'm sorry, I'm way behind on these comments. So let me try to get to these. Sphinx, higher time frames, you can do that. My strategy works with higher time frames if you don't want to be necessarily a scalper. But it's mainly for scalping that I focus on. Random, that's an awesome name, by the way. We got Random Barbarian in the chat. Shout out to you for having a hilarious name. Your first time here? All right, cool. In the 80s, before those floor traders in Chicago used to call the ES the Widowmaker. Now it's the old man. That's actually really funny. I have a member of my community who has been, he was a floor trader back in the 90s and whatnot. And so it's kind of funny that you say that. But yeah, I mean, I think the ES was where, because there wasn't an index of just the tech stocks. And at the, so as the market was still booming with those in the ES, I think, as they were going to be coming up. But that's kind of funny. And that's probably because back then the ES was probably way more intense than just like trading like the Russell or something. Or the Dow or whatever. Okay. How do you tell me that drawing trend lines and hunting second entries relies on how good you can draw a trend line and knowing when a trend is over? What the heck? Hold on, my music just shifted on me. Oh, all right. Here, let's listen to this one. All right. Drawing a trend line and knowing when a trend is over, and that's all based on how you look at it. Correct. My strategy is based on how you read the market. Yes, correct. That's correct. I don't see a problem with that though. That's why it has an edge. Because you become a good chart reader over time, and then once you're a good chart reader, then the strategy will work for you. When you're not a good chart reader, it will not work for you. So it takes a long time to learn it. That's just the way it is. That's how it is with every strategy, I think. Yeah, the SP 500 futures, yeah, because back then it was, and then it got so expensive that they had to create the E-mini, they had to create the ES because the S&P got so large that a contract was too big to trade. So they created the ES. And now that's the main one. And then later they ended up creating the MES because it still was getting too big for people. No, that's not true. That's not just guessing. It's not just guessing. It's not just guessing. Like that's like it's not. That's fine. You know a bunch of people. That's all anecdotal, right? That's all anecdotal, and we don't know the variables with those people. We don't know how many strategies they've tried, and if they keep trying new strategies, that's probably partially why they're not profitable. We don't know how many strategies they've tried. We don't know what their discernment is. We don't know what their methodology is. We don't know how they're managing their psychology. We don't know how often they're following their rules. Like there's so many variables that go into it. The only way that this study could be done is if you took like 100 people and you started to say, okay, study these specific trading strategies, and then we're going to record every trade you take to make sure you followed the rules, and then see if you guys got profitable or not. And that would be the only way to do that, but no one's doing that study. Just like, yeah, it's just, it can't, I don't think it can be done. What chart do I use for tick charts? TradingView, yeah, I use NinjaTrader. I use NinjaTrader, and you can use NinjaTrader for free. So I have a lifetime license because I get a better commission cost, but you can use it for free. So NinjaTrader is the move. Sphinx, yep. At times when I've had bad trading, it's been a me problem for sure. Yeah, you're welcome, Prodson. And you know, and I appreciate the comments, Trader. What's your name? Trader C Bow. You know, yeah, I mean, you know, and it's all fair, you know, it's all fair. The question becomes, so let me ask you this. What is your intention? Like, is your intention just to show up in live streams to tell people that trading doesn't work when you have a trader YouTube username? It's just, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to be doing. But, sell courses, right? So here, my membership to my community is $99 a month, right? It's $99 a month. Do you think I'm making like a full-time income from that? I'm definitely not. Actually, you can tell that I'm not because I have 31 members in my community. That's it. And some of these members aren't paying members, actually a decent amount, because they're people who have a lifetime free license because they're people that I personally knew and stuff like that. So paying members, paying me $99 a month is a small amount. It's not a lot of money that I'm making from my course and community and stuff. It's not a lot. So the reality there is that, like, if it were the case, why would I be doing this? Well, I do this so I can make a small amount of money from that, but mostly because I like teaching it. But I don't need to, like, right? I could just have no YouTube, no course, and just trade each morning and just be on my merry way. But I personally like to help other traders, work with them, and do all that. And that's why I only have that membership in there right now. I do one-on-one coaching, but that's more because I've been an entrepreneur before. I do like men's coaching and stuff like that. I do it for traders as well, but that's more about like coaching people on more of their mindset type stuff. And I work with entrepreneurs because I used to own a company and I sold it. So I do that. But I agree with you that there are a lot of traders out there on YouTube, for sure. Well, if 100 people subscribe, I have pretty much had this be about the same size for years. But what I can tell you is that a lot of these YouTubers out there that have, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers and all that, yeah, they're definitely making a lot of money off of courses and affiliate codes. We've even talked about that a lot in here, and that's why, like, I don't do all the affiliate code marketing thing. I don't do paid promotions or any of that because that's how that goes. You can copy and paste. ICT. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So what Al Brooks does, what Mac. Well, my strategy is slightly different than those guys. I learned most of my stuff from Mac. I also have the Al Brooks books. I learned a lot from him. But my take on it is different. And I do things differently, right? Because what I do is different. I don't just sell what they do. I literally do live coaching calls every day with the community. So I do these calls on YouTube Mondays and Fridays. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do live Zoom calls. And I do coaching. I walk through it. I do Q&A. I let people come off mute, ask me questions. And we go over it step by step. So that is way different than just selling a course, right? Like I actually coach people on how they do it. So that's the way it is. Also, mine comes with, there's a custom Ninja Trader Toolkit indicator suite that comes with it. There's a bunch of other things too. There's an NLP course. There's mindset stuff. There's a lot more than I do that isn't just teaching the price action strategy. I also teach a lot of stuff around the mindset piece and all that. So that's just me just being honest with you about this. But again, in my community, only about half of the members are paying members. The other half are people that, like I said, people that I knew personally that I gave free lifetime license and all that. So it's not making very much. And I've had this community for going on 2 years, over like about 2 years now. Do I come online every day? Yeah, Monday through Friday I do come on, yeah. And I agree, Lucid, there's so many mental variables that you can have, and they do, and they can affect you for sure. I've had a lot of them in my path in trading. Yeah, but that's not true. That's not true. Here's the thing. Try to do it, right? So I'll explain this to you because of my actual experience with this. I used to own a company. I owned a business. I grew it and I sold it. And I basically was in early retirement because I sold the company. And I was depressed afterwards. Like it sucked for me, to be honest with you. And so I then was like, well, I'm going to do something else. So then I started trading. I was already trading, but then I started to like really just do a lot of trading. And then I was like, this is lonely and I miss having employees. I miss like talking to people throughout the day. And then, I was bored. So then I started a Discord, and everything I did was free for many years. I started a YouTube channel and Discord, and everything was free. I didn't even launch the paid offering until 2024, but I already had like a bunch of stuff going on for free for years. And it was only because when people were asking me if I would create a course, if I would like create some sort of thing, and then I started doing it, and then I realized like that I wanted to do coaching. Like I enjoy coaching. I don't even just coach on trading. I do career coaching. I do other stuff because do you really want to be like, try it, right? Try getting to a point in life where you have all this purpose, you do all this work, you have this career, and then you don't do it anymore, and you will be bored. I'm telling you, you will be. At least I was. It just didn't fit my mentality. But I also have an entrepreneurship mentality. I like to be building things that help people and do things. Like, that's just how I am. And yes, that's the same argument that always comes up. Well, why would you teach this? Why would you teach that? Well, I don't know. Ask a surgeon why they would teach other people to be a surgeon when they could just make more money doing surgeries. Like, I don't know, because they want to help people. They want to contribute. They get value from it. They like seeing other people thrive. They feel like there's a bigger purpose than just making a bunch of money on your own. Like it's just the way it is. Like, if you found ways to make money, wouldn't you want to teach other people how to do it? Just ask yourself that question. But it doesn't change the fact that there are a lot of people. Yeah. Okay. Well, then why are you making the argument about other people that do all this? It's like, what are you here for? What are you here for? So does that mean that like the surgeons who teach other surgeons can't do surgery? Just curious here. Yeah, listen. I agree with you that most coaches out there in any industry, not just trading, but in general, most coaches, and I'm not talking about sports. I'm talking about like people who teach things online and stuff. A lot of them never actually did the thing that they're coaching people on. But I don't think that that's necessarily true for professional coaches. A lot of professional coaches did play. Doesn't mean they were the best player, but they did play. Like, I'm a big fan of soccer, and most professional soccer coaches were, at some point, highly rated players, or at least they were high up in playing. But even outside of sports, just in general, like online, there's a lot of people that will teach you how to build a business online. And these people have never built a business besides the business of teaching you how to build a business, right? Well, the difference here is that like some of us have done things. Like I've actually built a company and sold it. So I feel like with that plus other qualifications, I feel qualified to work with other entrepreneurs who are looking for coaching because I've actually built a company and sold it. I've gone through some stuff that a lot of them have not. So people that are building businesses for the first time, there's a lot of things that I went through that they haven't experienced yet. And so my expertise does help them with that. Trading, I've done it since 2017. And so there's a lot similarly. I didn't start any sort of program to show anybody anything until late 2024. Like I didn't have any sort of paid offering until then. So there you go. Like I wanted to prove concept before I did anything. I didn't just like start trading and then build a course, right? I waited till I had a system that I knew worked for me. Well, you're here in my chat saying this stuff to me and then talking about plagiarizing content and all this stuff as if, like, what do you mean? How else would I take this? You're on my stream saying that, like, basically arguing that what I'm doing is like something invalid. So what do you mean? Of course it is personal, isn't it? Listen, I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that there is a lot of that in the industry. That's what I'm trying to say here. That's why I do things the way I do. That's why I do things in a different manner. Because just because a lot of the industry is like that doesn't mean the whole industry is like that. Same with coaching. I've met so many online coaches, or I've seen so many online coaches who are like career coaches or entrepreneurship coaches. For sure. I think it's a majority. I think it's a majority that are doing this in a sort of more manipulative, nefarious way. I think the majority of online courses out there are like that in every industry. I actually think that. So for example, like if you find I'll use executive coaching as an example. People that teach, can I find a daily bias? I will get to that question. People that do the whole executive coaching thing, right? Like coaching for entrepreneurs and executives on how to like scale a business, all this stuff, how to grow your business, how to get clients, how to do all these things. Most of these people that are teaching that stuff have never actually done that on their own. They simply created a business that teaches people how to create a business and grow it. So their business is the business of teaching you the thing that they're currently doing, and they haven't actually done it on their own. So like, it's not like, oh, I owned a business I owned a moving business and I grew my moving business to $3 million a year and then I sold it. And now I'm teaching people how they can apply the concepts I did in their thing. That's not how most of it is. Once in a while, you'll find someone who's actually done that. And that's always better to follow that than anything else. But it is the case that like most of the online coaches I see, they are definitely people who are teaching something that they don't even know if they can make work on their own because they haven't done it, and they're selling to dreamers. And I don't think that it's different in almost any industry. So it's one of those things, like for me, I didn't even feel qualified to coach other people on business or anything until I had grown a business and sold it myself. And same with trading. I didn't feel qualified to even release anything that would cost any money until I had proven to myself that it's feasible and that it works over a long period of time. And that's why I waited so long to even launch anything. And that's just how it is. All right. So anyway, but good discussion, you know, like good discussion. I wanted to just like address it straight up. It still is the case, and I will say this, I think it still is the case that, like anything else, the most people that do trading will not make money doing it. I do think that's true. Just like most people who start a business will not make money doing that. Like the entrepreneurship stats are not super favorable. Most people who start a restaurant will not make it profitable. There's a lot of things like that, and that's just the way it is. You know, it's like the industries that have so much potential tend to be difficult to get into. All right. Yeah. Wait. Image? Did I see your question with the image? What image? I don't think an image came through in my chat. Did you send an image? Hold on. I need to answer some other questions too, but let me look because let me open up the studio control room real quick so I can see the chat in there because it doesn't show me an image. I don't think an image came through, man. Yeah, I don't think an image came through as far as I can tell. All right, let me minimize that. Hold on. All right, so you asked how we can find a daily bias. Let me get back. A daily bias. And I agree with you. Don't quit your day job. I think that's true for don't quit your day job. You know, you got with like same thing if you start a business, like build it up first, you know, before you need to be very confident over a long period of time in it. You know, that's how, yeah. Don't risk your capital. Like don't risk your hard-earned money. Like learn on the simulator account for sure. All right. I hope I'm not one of the only ones. I really hope not. I truly hope not. All right. I hope that there's a lot of people that are just doing this to try to help people. I think that they're out there. They have a smaller following like me. Because we're not doing the things that, you know, that explode the growth in a manipulative way. All right. Daily bias. There's not really, okay, how do I say this? There's not exactly a daily bias that always carries over for the whole day unless you're trading on really long time frames. If you're a day trader like me and you're scalping a single time frame like I do, like I scalp the 2000 tick chart intraday, well, the way you're going to do it is you're going to look at the swings in the overnight, and that's going to give me my bias. In this case, my bias was it's a range because we went down and then up and then we were going down again. So it was a range. Sideways was my bias going into the day. But that can change throughout the day when the market develops. So in this case, it was sideways, but then the bias was up here, and now it's back to sideways. So we might end up with a larger sideways day. So you let the price action develop. Now, yesterday, the market looked like this coming in the overnight. Well, that's a downward bias. So I had a bearish bias in the day, but that did switch at some point to go back up a little bit. And then it ended up just going sideways after, but that was a bearish bias. So you just do it based on the overnight swings. This one was down and then going up. So sideways bias, but then mostly the most recent move was bullish. So you stay with that. So it's really just, it's that simple. It's not like, you don't get locked into something. You let the price action develop and you go off of what the trend lines are doing. Random Barbarian. No, I stream on YouTube starting at, I do it on Mondays, and my streams are at the same time every day. They're at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. So whatever time zone you're in, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. They're always Monday through Friday, and they're always right after the session, right after the trading session. During the session, I post screenshots of the chart so that people that are trading my strategy can make sure that they're drawing their own trend lines and then confirming that they're lining up with the way that I'm reading the market. So it's meant to really help people learn how to do this. I don't like stream the whole trading session. I stream to basically do a coaching session on the trading session itself, the trades that I marked, why they fit the criteria, the ones that didn't fit the criteria, the ones that I would skip, and I do that so that people can learn. So the idea is that you go through the course, you trade yourself, and then you use the screenshots as a way to verify throughout the session that you're on the right track, and then you watch the coaching video after to learn from it. That's how it works. So that way you're actually learning by doing yourself. It's meant to teach people how to do this themselves. That's the whole point. Okay. Car enthusiast, overnight session as in Asia and London. I don't know. Yeah, like exactly. Like the futures market opens in the afternoon each day, like the early evening afternoon each day. So I just look at the pre-market up to before the open to get my initial bias before the market opens. All right, guys, I've been streaming now for over 2 hours, so that is really long. I'm spent. I gotta go. I haven't streamed this long in a long time. But I've been streaming for over 2 hours. I'm heading out to my trip to Italy tomorrow, and not tomorrow, sorry, on Sunday. I'm heading out on Sunday. So I'll be gone for about 2 weeks. So the next stream is going to be on Monday when I get back. Thank you for being here, everybody. I appreciate you all. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the chat. Good discussion as always. I appreciate you all, and I hope all of you have a great weekend and great start of August, because I won't see you until second week of August. So have a good rest of the month and good start of August. Yeah, for sure. You're welcome. You're welcome.